Hello.
Hi. There we
Oh,
go.
sorry.
Perfect. You're sharing your screen and now we're good. Okay. It's like, I can't
Sorry.
really see you or there we go.
My
It's
mistake.
okay.
I'm new to this new streaming tool.
Yeah. Fun to use. We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. There's gonna be lots of mistakes in this live stream, so this will be fun. This is very candid and just yeah, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So hello everybody. As probably you know, we are going to be today talking about this Visual Studio Code snippet extension that is available on the marketplace. So I decided to invite Corny to join me on this live stream because she had never done a contribution to that repo. I thought it might be useful for both of us to go on help her. I could help her during her journey during this first contribution to a repo. So let's see how it
Yep.
goes.
Yeah. This should be fun. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I've never like Raul said, I've never contributed to that specific repo before. So I'm sure there's going to be lots of fun learning mistakes and things to be had. But yeah, cool. And I think the idea for this too is like we're trying to make it. We're doing this during the month of October, so like Oktoberfest is happening, but we are trying to just make this a general thing where hopefully it's going to be a good resource for you to figure out how to contribute to this repo, and then we're going to go through general steps of how to contribute to a general repo, um, do like a pull request and all that. So hopefully, maybe you'll learn something today. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me say
cool.
hi to Cedric. I see him on the chat. So
Hi,
welcome
Cedric.
everyone again. Hope
Yeah,
to see you
welcome.
soon in Berlin.
Where
Okay,
are you going to get to?
so we have to introduce ourselves just in case someone doesn't know us already, right?
Yeah, sounds good. Okay,
Okay, do I go first?
sure.
Well, hello everyone again. Raul Jimenez, working with Corny on the developer experience team, principal product engineer. Yeah, trying to help however I can, providing resources for you. Yep, that's my lead. HH on Twitter, as you can see there. And my
Mhm.
fun fact,
Got it.
we're talking about what to share. So we're going to be sharing what we did last weekend. So
Yep.
I went to the beach with my kids. I was so dirty that when I get back home, I decided to buy a garbage clamp to for next time I go. I will. Well, I already have it. I received it yesterday, so I will go and will clean up a little bit the beach before
Yeah,
we start
all
playing
the
with it.
litter.
Yeah, it was so annoying. It's yeah, even dangerous, I would say sometimes.
Oh
So
my goodness. Wow.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll do some good.
Good. Just trying to help the environment. So, that's good. Well, I'll get to my fun fact in a second, but it was dirty in a different way. So, um, so yeah, I'm Courtney, and like Raul said, we work in the developer experience team. I'm a developer advocate, and what we're doing today is one of many things that we try to do to help developers understand how to use our technology and get feedback from what you guys think and all that kind of good stuff. So, um, yeah, I've been with Esri for a little over a year now, so it's been good. Uh, so my fun fact is last weekend I was a participant in a Tough Mudder, which if you're unfamiliar with that, you can do a quick Google search. It's basically a run plus obstacles. So this one was a 10K, and it had like a little over 20 obstacles. I did not do all the obstacles, but I did end up doing about half of them. It was my first one, so I did the best I could. But unfortunately, I did not only get really dirty because it's a mud event, you go through the mud, but also I did actually end up spraining my ankle about a mile in, so that was fun. But luckily, I just pushed through and just ended up feeling the hurt later in the day. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun though. I don't want to discourage anyone from doing one in the future. It was definitely a lot of fun. So, it's just be aware of what you're running on and try not to twist your ankle. So, yeah. All
Nice.
right.
Then let's go and get started. I'm
Let's
going
do
to
it.
start. Let's
Let's
go.
do
I'm
it.
going to share my screen for 1 second, just in case you don't know what repo we are talking about. We are going to be contributing to not this one because this is my fork. This one. So this is the repository where the extension that it's published. And Courtney told me that this is pointing to the old one, right? Yeah, it says Node. This one is deprecated, just for you to know. We decided to do this because apparently this extension has been installed by a lot of people. So we think it would be nice to have an update on it and get it enhance these extensions a little bit. So we made a change. Now you can see this new extension was changed, I think, last week ago. Um, so we are going to be contributing to this extension. So this is the source code of this extension. So we'll walk through that with Courtney. I just want to show you how it works. Uh, so if you go to Visual Studio Code and you open the extension panel and you search for ArcGIS maps, you will find it in here, right? Then if you scroll a little bit, you will see that here we have here we have a table of content with some of the snippets available. But we are working to improve that and make it more easy to use because it's growing and it will keep growing. So it might not be super easy to use in the future. So we are looking for ways to enhance this experience. But just for you to know, for example, there are some snippets that you can use, like Gate API that will load the CSS and the JavaScript code from the SDK on from the CDN, or you can use the require, a map, trigger. So this prefix thing is what you need to type. So I'm going to do a very quick demo. So I'm going to be using some of this. So this is how you would use it. So I'm going to start by using this default snippet that Visual Studio Code provides. So here, for example, if I type full map, you will notice that it displays the IntelliSense, sorry, in here. And it says where this code is coming from. In this case, this is coming from a local snippet I have configured on my Visual Studio Code. We will see more about that later on. But when you do this, for example, if I type get API, which is one of the snippets that is provided by the extension, you will see that in here, I can just click in here. We have set up this snippet, to allow you to pick between the different versions of the library. So you just pick one, click enter or tab. You're done with it. So now we have half of the code we need to do a hello world. So if you want to keep going, just need to write the script. So as we saw, there is another snippet which is require. So you can click require. We just noticed that there is a small thing in here that could be improved. So this dojo done ready is not needed anymore. So this can be an enhancement to be done to the snippet extension. So with that, we have the require, and then we can type map. A map is another snippet that is available that will create or will load or instantiate a map class as well as a map view. And again, here we have some of the enumerations we can use with the different map styles. Another thing we notice in here is that, as you will see, we are not setting an API key. So it will give us a small error, but we'll fix that in a second. A lot of improvements can be done. Like, for example, you can notice in here, like the coding style is not perfect. contributions again are more than welcome. Anything you see could be improved, like the code styling side of things. But with this, we are almost ready, right? We just need to create a div element, which is going to be called viewDiv, right? With this, we are going to have a map, not working map, because we still don't have the config. But let me show you at least. Okay. It will display the prompt in here to introduce my credentials. In order to avoid this prompt, I'm going to need an API key. So let me quickly create one. Again, as always, I recommend to set up referrers in here to avoid people using your API keys. I will remove this one anyway. And here we need to load the Esri config, right? As we all probably know. Here we have some help that we can use. So Esri config, and then config API key. Let me type my API key in here very quickly.
Now, all this stuff that you're doing, I guess ideally, most of this would have already been there. So this is like an enhancement, an improvement that needs to be done to this snippet.
Yeah, I highly recommend us to improve this. So a pull request, if you don't do it or anyone else does it, I will do it myself.
Right. Yeah. Sounds good.
So yeah, just adding the API key, we have it working, right? So that's the idea behind this extension, right? We just want to have some reusable code snippets that are frequently used by developers within the extension, and also let everyone know, in case they don't know already, that they can set up their own snippets, their own custom snippets on their environment.
Yeah.
So with that, Connie, I think it's time for you to go to a repo and start looking at the issue we have created for you.
All right. Let's see. Let me pull that up. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is the right window. Cool. Okay. All right. Yeah. So as Raul just mentioned, we did go ahead and just set up a specific issue for me to go ahead and solve through this live stream right now. But when you come to the repo, I'm going to go ahead and click on the issues here. So just in general, if you find a repo interesting and you're wanting to possibly contribute to it, you can go to the issues right there, and then you'll see all the different issues and all your possibilities of how to actually help contribute. So the one I'm going to do is this one here, add snippets for a search widget. But as you can see, there's some other ones. We've got add basic snippets, layer classes, symbol classes, snippets, all sorts of things. Also, I mentioned earlier that it is Hacktoberfest right now, so we do have this special issue in here that does detail a little bit more information about those specific details, because there is a little bit more associated with that. But no matter what, all these steps will still be the same to contribute. Okay. So I've opened up this issue. It says add snippets for search widget, different configurations. The JavaScript search widget, it's got a bunch of different properties and different source options. And it looks like I'm going to, for this specific issue, there are 3 different widgets that I'm going to be creating, or hopefully, if we have time, we'll at least get 1 or 2 in there, depending on time. So, okay. Now, I see what I want to work on. I find this interesting. But then I say, okay, well, where do I go from here? I mean, especially if it's my first time contributing to, anything in general, that's going to be a bit more. I'll take us through those steps as well. But for any repo, it's suggested to go to the README and start there. It's just on the front page here, scroll down, and I'm going to go ahead and read through some of this. So I briefly read through this earlier a little bit. But again, I haven't contributed to this repo yet, so I haven't gone through all these steps or anything. So this will be interesting to see what happens. Okay.
Actually, well,
Mhm.
go ahead. I have a story to share, but yeah, I want to see if you have the same issue that another
Do
friend
you?
had.
Okay. I was just thinking, do you think I should fork and clone this first before I go through these steps? Which
No,
one
I
do
think
I
it's better to just start reading and going
Okay.
through the README.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So prerequisites. So to use this extension, you'll need to install Visual Studio Code. I already have that. Good to go. And the extension. Now, it says there are two possibilities. You've got this one, which this should be the one that's out of date now. Yeah, so this is the deprecated one. Or you could do it from this option. Now, I do already know how to install an extension within Visual Studio Code. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take that route if you think that's okay, Raul. So I'm not
Yeah.
dealing with so much other. Okay. All right. I'm just going to open Visual Studio Code. Okay. Let's see. Let me open up just a new window and bring it down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to look for the extensions. Here we go. Okay. And the name of it, I'm assuming, is going to be something close to the name of this repo. So let's try ArcGIS, JS, VSCode, Snippets, something like that. Oops, typo.
That's an easy one.
What was that?
I mean,
Easy one?
that's.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah. So as you can see, actually, yeah, this is the deprecated one, right?
No, the first one, no, the first one, well, the second one is the deprecated one. Yep, the first one is about App Studio, and the fourth
That's
one.
different. Yes, I'm pointing to the second one. Sorry. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that one's the deprecated one, and then I assume this is the one we want now. If you are familiar, with naming conventions for our APIs, they change over to SDKs, all of that like a little less than a year ago, I think, something like that. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and install this. So we're installing the extension. Okay, I guess it's installed. All right, let's go back. So I've done this part. After installing, there are two ways to use it. Two ways. Okay, so we've got the built-in VS Code IntelliSense, which that's what you were using earlier,
Yes.
Raul. Yes. Okay. All right. I guess I can use that. It's the first option. The second option, installing the snippet viewer. So it'll show like all the different snippets on the side here, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah. That's
Guess I'll
another
just do the first
extension
one.
that displays all the snippets you have installed in your computer. The ones that
Oh, I
are
see.
coming from an extension and the ones you have customized in your own local installation too.
Okay. But it'll be basically the same thing as this.
Yep.
It'll just not be all, yeah, shown in a list like that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just see what happens when I click on this. This is just another extension.
No, the IntelliSense is built in Visual Studio Code. So if
Oh, I got you. So I can literally just start typing.
yeah,
Okay.
but if you read the notes below, in case
Okay.
something is not working, you might have to set up Studio Code, some settings on Visual Studio Code. So give it a try. Maybe it works by
Oh,
default.
okay. All right. So I haven't set up, no, I don't have the repo locally on my computer or anything. So I guess to test it, maybe I'll just make just a new file. No, let me close this out. Go back to this. Yeah, I'm not even in a folder right now. Let's go to the folder that I did set up. Okay.
It's interesting. You don't have the icons on the left. Have you removed them? The ones I have?
I think I did. I probably did for demonstration purposes at, on stage or something. So, all right. All right. So I just made a JavaScript file, and let me watch this GIF again. So if I just start typing something, well, I mean, this is within an already created feature layer. So would that even show up if I started typing?
Yeah, it shouldn't matter. So
Shouldn't matter.
if it is a snippet for a JavaScript file, it should
Yeah.
trigger anywhere. It's not checking what's above or below.
Ah, so like that?
Yep.
Okay. I see. So it does come up, and then it does say to hit tab or enter just to make it happen. So I see. Okay. All of that did come up. So all I had to type was a few letters, and yeah, all of that was auto-filled for me. So, okay. I guess that means I've got the extension installed correctly, I suppose.
Yep. And
That's
actually,
lovely.
that's what I wanted to mention because when I was talking to a friend that has already done a contribution, the first time she read the README, she
Mhm.
thought these steps were in order to be able to contribute, but actually these steps are only in order to be able to use the extension. It's
Yes,
it's,
exactly.
it's not about
No,
contributing yet.
not yet. Okay. Yeah, because that's what I asked you a few minutes ago. Because in general, I know how to contribute to a repo, but fair enough. It's, yeah, for this specific repo, this is taking you through how to just use, yeah, the extension in general first before getting to that part. Okay.
Yeah.
um, so I guess I don't need, these notes don't apply to me then because it appears to be working.
Yes. I guess you don't. It's working, so it's everything is fine.
Cool. All right. And that was option 2. I don't need to do that. So now we're going to configuration. So if you want to create your own custom snippets, you can do so. I see. Okay. So right now I'm just simply trying to do an issue and contribute to the repo, but this is just, yeah, extra stuff if you want to do your
Yeah,
own.
actually, you will probably need to do something like that. Yeah.
Let's open it up and see.
Well, don't worry too much about it. When you go to the contributing, you are going to find a very similar content. Uh,
Okay. I see. Yeah, because I mean, I am going to be creating custom snippets, but they're based off of the issue. See, I was kind of reading this as like if you just want to make your own custom ones that are not being asked for. But okay, I see what you're saying. This is just general user defined snippets in Visual Studio. Yeah, documentation.
exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. All right. So now we have a giant list of all the snippets that are already available.
I think we have around 70. Hopefully, we will get many more. We have a ton of issues, a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
and looking for more ideas. Yeah. And that's another thing. You will notice that there are some snippets that are made for TypeScript. There are other snippets for JavaScript, regular JavaScript, and you can also add these snippets for HTML, for SAS, for
Mm,
many other things. So
I see.
some
Yeah.
of them are,
Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say, some of them are more complete than others. So looking forward to hear from the user community what they would like to have.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, with things like this, once you see how to use it, someone guides you through it, then you probably start thinking of your own ideas of how you could, yeah, extend upon what's already existent. So,
Yep.
okay, cool. All right, this is community snippets. So this is your snippets, I guess, your custom snippets.
Yeah, actually, that's something I propose to the team because sometimes someone might want to share their own snippets and they don't want to contribute all the snippets because they are very opinionated or for whatever reason. So when I was experimenting with the snippets myself, if you open that link, you will see that I was playing around and thinking, okay, how can we make this more useful? So I made even a cheat sheet. You can see down below how we could present different snippets, how I would like to see them organized. Like you can see there, we have. Well, if you open that, can you make it bigger?
Mhm.
Um, the image. I mean, you can open it on a
Oh.
different tab. But yeah, I was playing around. Okay, well, I always struggle writing the code for some of these snippets, like sorry, for some of the classes, like the geometries. I forget how the properties are called. So I thought that it might be interesting to have snippets group per category, like snippets per symbols, snippets per geometries, as you can see there,
Mhm.
and not only for the extension of the file. So I did this, but I didn't know if this was the right approach. I didn't want to do a big pull request to the repo because the reviewers will kill me. Like, Raul, this is too much content. You have changed all our conventions or whatever. So I decided to
Uh,
publish on a public repo, and that's something I think anyone else can do. If you feel the snippets you have
mm,
are useful for other users, you might want to do something similar, like create a public repo and upload them and request us to link your repository in there so anyone can go there and pick any of the snippets you have. Um,
okay.
if
Yeah, that
if
makes
you wish.
sense. Cool. Yeah, and I guess as we'll show in a little bit, I mean, the snippets are so customizable to like any situation that you're in. I mean, it's very they almost seem personalized from what I was looking at a little bit ago. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. All right, so that's the community snippets. Issues, something's not working. Okay, so basically it's just saying look at the previous issues, open a new issue if you have any questions, bugs, all that. Okay. Um, and then there's a Stack Overflow option as well there. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty much down at the bottom of the README now. So it says welcomes contributions, and that's the whole idea is trying to contribute. So I guess I should click guidelines for contributing next.
Hmm.
Sound good? Okay. All right, let's check it out. Okay, let's see. All right, we've got a table of contents here. I'm just going to jump into the first thing. Okay, I want to contribute. What should I work on? So I've already decided what I'm going to work on. But I guess if you don't know, yeah, we do have some like good labels here, like help wanted or good first issue. You'll see it; those are pretty common things to see among various different repos. Of course, then there's other things if you want to like add your own ideas or problems and all of that. So, okay, cool. Next thing, getting a development environment set up. And there's a note right away. To avoid conflict, we do not recommend editing the local installation of the plugin placed in here. What? Okay.
That's not clear. Well, then I will have to rephrase it with your help. So
Okay.
what I was trying to explain in here is that now you will need to fork the repo.
Right.
So something I was considering when I was doing this is should I fork and clone the repository within the local installation? That way, whenever I change my local extension, the installation of my extension, and while I try it, I just go ahead and do it, and then do a pull request. So I'm actually using a extension that it's on a repo, but locally cloned. So I'm not sure if I'm explaining myself. So
Hmm.
can you try to find that folder within your computer?
Oh, sure. I can try, I guess. Let's see. I'm not sure where. Okay. Where would VS Code be?
Because
It's
that's
under.
actually a path to the Mac or Linux folder.
Oh, okay. So maybe under
I'm just
VS
searching.
Code. There it is. Extensions. And then this one.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you notice that folder contains exactly the same files as the repository, with only one exception, I think, which is the extension itself, which is the file with extension VSIX. Right? If you go to the repo,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
VS6. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Let me see.
Right? It's RJS, JS API. There's a second one at the bottom.
Wait, where?
RJS JavaScript. If you go to the on that list, RJS
Yeah.
JavaScript,
Oh, right here. I see what you're
that
saying.
one. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's the extension. And something I didn't know, which I learned when I was playing with this, is that that's actually a zip file. So you can just, it's like a shape file. So you can rename it to zip and uncompress it, and you will find the same folder in there.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, going going back, sorry,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
got it on a tangent.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is, when you are looking for contributing, you could potentially change the files you have on that folder we have just seen on your local drive, right? Because
Oh,
you don't even
yeah.
need to fork if you want to play around with it. The problem is that if you change any file on this local folder, anytime
Mhm.
we publish a new version of the snippet extension, you can get conflicts on your Visual Studio
Yes.
Code, or we can
Okay.
override uh, your customization. So do not touch this one. That's the only advice. Do not touch this one, even if you already have the extension snippets in your local drive. Do a fork,
Mhm.
do a clone, and work from there.
I see. Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if we make it
think
more clear.
I understand what you're saying now. I think not having dealt with a lot of extensions myself before, I don't think I ever would have
Think
thought to
about
do
that.
this. So I probably, because I would just be like, oh, I'm just gonna work and clone this repo and just work in there. I'm not, I didn't think to do this necessarily. I mean, it makes sense now that you've, I guess, pointed it out. But
No, fair
yeah,
point. Maybe I overthink when I was doing the contributing guideline. So we'll fix that. We'll
okay,
reorganize.
sounds good. Okay, cool. All right, so I don't need to worry about that because I'm not going to do that. Um, all right, I guess I'll just keep going with these steps. So in Visual Studio Code, show command palette, pressing, I've got Windows, I'm going to do Control Shift P. Okay. And then we'll type this. I guess that's the right one.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let me split screen this here. All right, because it went away again. So I'm going to have to pick it up again. All right, let me do it again. Right there. Okay. So it's opened up. Okay. So then it says select your preferred option. new global snippets file or the folder you want to place the snippets file. Okay, I guess I'll just click this. So this is a folder for, I'm a little
It's
confused right
that's
now again.
yeah. So in order to create your own snippets, you will need to
Right.
create a JSON file for each language you want to create the snippets for. For example, if you want to build snippets for JavaScript files, you will have a JavaScript.json. If you want to have snippets for HTML files, you will have an HTML.json file.
Yeah.
Um, so all these files where you are going to be writing your own snippets need to be stored somewhere. So you can decide it. You can decide to use the default folder that Visual Studio will use, or if you don't want to mess around with all your well, if you want to keep it organized differently, because maybe you want to have organized per projects or whatever, you can choose to save all these files per folder. To be honest, I'm using
Okay.
the global snippets right now.
Right.
I cannot give you a lot of advice on when to use the other one.
Okay. Like, so if I were to click this one, this would create it within the folder that I'm working in currently. Um, but I guess maybe I should just do the global.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just do the global. Okay, so depending on the type of snippet you want to add, you need to type one of those things that you just said. Okay. Well, the issue we're doing, I mean, I assume this is just going to be all JavaScript, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a good point. Maybe we should specify that on the issue.
Yeah, that would probably be nice to just, so people don't necessarily have to guess either.
I'm going to be taking notes on things that need to be needs improvement. By the way.
Sounds good. I mean, this is being recorded, so you can always go back. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. So I open this up and interesting. So now you can test in there. You will need to use the command palette again, but instead type that for to recognize the new snippet. I have to do that. I have to reload the window.
Sometimes you do. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure when you need to do it. Right now, we don't. You don't have any snippet in here. Everything is on comments.
Yeah, I see that.
So, and you will realize also that this is a JSON file and this has comments, right? So this is a special JSON file because, as you know, JSON doesn't allow comments. But when Visual Studio Code is allows you to
That's
have comments
interesting.
on it.
Yeah. Okay. Did that do anything?
You can test it there. Yeah, we have forgotten one thing. Maybe you want to uncomment from line 9 to 17.
Oh, 9 to 17.
Yeah,
I see. That's the example.
that's actually the snippet itself. If you
Okay.
save it and you try to use it, if you go to scripts, the prefix in this case is what it says, log, right? So if you go to script.js and type log,
Ah, the prefix is log because prefix is how you start typing one. Okay.
yeah, that's the trigger. Okay, there you have it. If you click on the right, on the arrow on the right, when you are typing, you see you have, well, you saw you have two options. Type again log.
Yeah.
Sometimes that
That,
happens, so you have two snippets that have the same name. So in order to know which one is coming from your configuration file, you have to go to the right with your cursor, and you'll see
oh, I
that
see.
arrow. Yeah, that's where you have to click to get more
Um,
information. This is coming for the global user snippet. And the other one, I don't know where it's coming from.
The other one, is that
Maybe
like
it's a
a
default.
built-in default? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
probably this. So if you go to JavaScript and mess around with the description and with the prefix and save it again, it should probably change everything. But in case something doesn't change, you have to do that reload thing.
Oh, I
Potentially,
see. Should I just test it real quick? I'll just change this
yep,
to,
why not?
okay, like log test or something.
Yep,
Okay. Save. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it worked.
perfect. You're ready to start writing your own scripts or snippets.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think the most confusing part was just like having to figure out that we needed to uncomment that, even though that's not that confusing. It's just it wasn't listed over here. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, I
Cool.
think maybe one thing that we can improve is that we at this point we haven't explained how a snippet is built. What are the different
Yeah,
parts, how it look like, right? So that's not very
true.
intuitive, probably, unless you read everything here.
Yeah, unless you've already read everything first. Exactly, which I guess some of that information is probably further down. Oh
Yep.
yeah, here we go. Conventions, like what does prefix mean? I see prefix here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, just kept one part at the beginning that could potentially give you the information. So the first step on how I can help is the snippet builder. Suggesting new snippets. So if well, we'll see that in a second, I guess. But
Adding ideas for snippets using the snippet builder. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I think I skipped that because I was thinking like I'm not giving ideas right now. But
hmm
okay. But hopefully if it's a tool to help me solve an issue, then it'll be linked later. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a good point. But probably we should say something
Okay.
in addition to that.
Okay, cool. I guess I'm on to the next step. So we've got adding a new snippet. So we accept different types. Consider using the snippet builder to validate your snippet, and please make sure it follows the conventions. So there's a link to the snippet builder that we were just
hmm
talking about. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, these are just giving the different types, which I guess the one I'll be doing is more of a common procedures.
well, I think
So,
we are going to be doing the initialization of classes, right? So we are going to create a few
oh
snippets
yeah,
to
you're right.
create
Initialize
some
the search
widgets.
widget. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly. Which I'll open that up again because I closed it. Yeah. So we're creating search widgets, which I'll open these up in a bit so we can see it. But I think this is the link to the API reference for the search widget. Yeah. So we'll look at that
Mhm.
soon. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So I guess I'll consider using this. I guess I'll just open it up and see what it is. Okay. Well, considering that I've been told that this is an example of a snippet, and then this is what I see right now, I mean, these look pretty similar.
Mhm.
Okay. There's no scope option. I don't know. I guess that doesn't matter. But okay. Cool. I guess I'll keep going. And please make sure it follows the conventions, which these are all the conventions here then now.
And there are a lot. I don't know if you
Yeah.
want to go through the conventions right now.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, okay, all right. I guess I'll go through these as I create the snippet.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best
Yeah.
way to go. Otherwise, you are going to get bored reading, and you won't do any
Yeah.
contribution.
There's a lot here, yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, let me just scroll past all that and see if there's anything else. Let's see. Commit message format. So that's once I'm done creating the snippet. This is what the format of how I want to actually create my commit message and then the PR. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So everything's telling me I should just fork and clone and go. start getting in there and create one. I don't know. I mean,
However you prefer. You can actually create the snippets before you do the fork and see if you are able to create a
yeah.
snippet to instantiate.
I guess
However you prefer.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I guess you don't have to actually work with the repo locally anyways necessarily. I could just do it in the browser even if I wanted after I create the snippets. Um, meh. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really
Well,
matter
if,
either
if,
way.
if you want to do a pull request, you will have to fork. If you want to suggest an idea, you don't need to even fork. You can use the snippet builder and just, if you switch to that tab again,
Go at the top.
to the no to the tab to the
Oh, the
snippet
tab.
builder. Yep. So if you notice down below on the right, you have the submit proposal. So as soon as you fill the form, uh,
Oh, it builds a new issue for you.
yep. So you
Um,
don't need to actually do the whole process to contribute. You can go in here and say, hey, I would like to share this idea of this snippet with this prefix and this name and this description, this body. And you just click in
yeah,
there and you will be ready to create an issue.
I see. Okay. Okay. Um, well, I guess I could just start trying to. So this snippets builder, I'm not going to submit the proposal. I'll still do it the proper way of like doing a PR, I guess, or that way of doing it. Um, but I'm wondering, do I even really need Visual Studio Code open right now then? If I'm just going to work kind of in here?
To test it, I would recommend you to keep it open, right? So you,
Okay. Actually test
oh,
the search widget, but I'll have to
yeah.
build an app.
Yeah, my suggestion would be start creating a simple app with that
Okay.
widget. Forget about the repo, forget about everything. Just do an HTML file
Okay.
um, and create a very simple hello world with that widget. So you make sure that the widget you are going to propose actually works.
I see. Okay. Now the search widget itself, that's not something that can stand alone from the map, is it? Like I'll have to actually get the map in there too, right?
Yeah, probably you can take the sample app from the documentation,
Yeah, that's
like
what I was
copy and
thinking.
paste.
Sounds good. Okay. Okay. So I guess well, I could if I were someone who was like looking at this issue, and trying to solve it, I would first need to figure out what the search widget is. Well, ideally, I already know what it is. But even if I didn't, I could just click it and start reading about it. So, all right, let's bring it up. And I guess I'll just kind of explain. Like, I obviously do already know what it is. When you click on that link here, it'll take you to the API reference for the search widget. So, this is where I'll get into seeing all the different property options that I'll use when I go to build the snippet. So I think I'll go back here and I'll actually open up this search widget, which this should be a code sample. Yeah, it's going to be this here. Let me refresh it. Okay, so I mean the idea of a search widget, just by the name itself, it kind of lends to what it is. It allows you to search for places. It's a widget that you can add to your mapping application. Okay, so I'll just start typing something and see what happens. Just test it out. Just get the feel for, yeah, exactly. So I live in Alexandria, Virginia. We've got a bunch of different zip codes here. So cool. Um, so I understand what it is now in general. And yeah, I mean, it's just like a suggestion search bar, basically. Okay, so let me go back to, I guess, the API reference now. And I'm not going to read all of this obviously out loud right now, but I guess if you're trying to really familiarize yourself with what it is and all the different possibilities, you might want to start reading all of this. I'm going to jump straight to the properties though and just see what we've got. Okay, so there's a bunch. These are alphabetically ordered, which is nice. And if you click on one of them, it gives even more details about one. I was briefly looking at these earlier. So I think the idea behind this is I'm going to create a snippet that will allow me to easily add one of these search bars to my map that has different properties to it, whatever properties that I deem are probably most useful or most important based on these, because there's a bunch of different properties here. Is that listed somewhere in the guidelines about creating your own snippets?
What is specifically?
Which properties to include, because I mean it doesn't actually say it in the issue, right?
Well, yeah. If you go to the body conventions of the snippet, you will see that we discuss and we thought that we let the developer decide what are the most common properties, because there are no strict rules, so there is no right or wrong. I would potentially say if you have no idea because you have never used that class or whatever, I
Yeah.
would encourage to one, go to the tutorials and see if you can find a tutorial explaining how to
Mhm.
use that, or two, go to the API reference as you did and try to find a sample code that use that class. Or it doesn't need to be always a class. As you saw previously, we have different things like programming patterns, initial class
Yeah.
initialization. So if I would recommend, if you are not familiar with how to use that, but you still want to do the contribution, just do a quick Google search and try to find some examples and base your proposal based on what you find in there. So, and
Okay.
as I told my friend the other day, don't worry about being wrong, or if you feel you are not sure if you are including all the properties. That's where the whole review process will come in, and someone will give you opinions or say, okay, I think it's good to go or whatever. So no
Okay.
mistakes in here.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, because I have used the search widget before, previously, and I've just to show the functionality. I know I've used various different properties, but to me, I'm thinking through some of them, and I'm like, some of those wouldn't be commonly used. Like, why would you disable it entirely? So, okay, cool, sounds good. All right, well, um, I've kind of familiarized us with, I guess, the search widget in general. So I guess I was kind of getting ahead of myself and thinking what properties I will get to that. So I guess we should go to the conventions and start building out this snippet for this basic search widget. All right. So we start with the prefix. Now, the prefix, it says all the conventions for it. Now, it doesn't actually give a description as to what it is. And I don't think I saw that anywhere. I know what it is because we were just testing with it. I know it's like the shortcut. I guess maybe that's something that should already be known by someone who's using a snippet, maybe. But anyway. Okay. So it's like the shortcut of what you type, like I was showing earlier. So, all right. What would be a good prefix?
Actually, that's something I noticed that it could be nice. If you go to a snippet builder again and you go
Yeah.
to the tooltips, I have included there. So if you put your mouse over
Oh,
the info,
question.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I explained there what it means, what is the prefix, what is the name, and
This is
everyone can
good.
see
Yeah.
it. That screenshot will point each part of the
A little bit easier to see.
snippet.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. All right. So you have included this. I would have got there in a sec. I see what you're saying. So it does actually define it for us. Okay. It defines
Yeah.
one or more trigger words. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That displays with the IntelliSense. Cool. Okay. So substring matching is also performed. Oh, interesting. So I guess I could do something like, well, actually, let me go back to the conventions because the first thing I just thought of was something that I think would go against the conventions. Like that example says for dash const, but I think the convention said camel case, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Need to fix that
Which
too.
also wouldn't that be a capital C, I think? Okay. So search widget. That seems reasonable, right? I don't know. The only thing I'm thinking now is how will this get defined differently or differentiated differently from the multiple sources and the custom sources?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I was thinking the same thing while I was reviewing one of the pull requests from another contributor.
Yeah.
We don't have a convention about that.
Um,
So if you have any opinion, like have one. I don't know if it's a good one, to be honest.
I see. Okay. I mean, my first thought was just to add a couple extra letters or something like MS and CS or something, but that doesn't seem very descriptive. But I don't want these to be too long, right? Do we have conventions on how long they should be?
Actually, the
No.
first thing you see in there is avoid acronyms, like you just said, like MS
Exactly.
or multi-source or
So
something like that.
don't do that. Don't do what I just said. Okay.
And why we discuss that? The thing is that actually it's not 100% accurate what I said on the builder. It's not a substring search, it's a fuzzy search, meaning that it will search for the characters no matter if it's exactly that substring or not. So if you go back to the Visual Studio Code, you have log test, right? So I think if you
Yes.
try to type LT, if I'm right, uh, you see, it's not a substring, but both characters are within the prefix. So it's auto-completing. With that
Yes.
said, the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit longer, because it will be easier for people to find the snippet if you include like multi-source. Maybe I remember that I want to add the search widget with multi-source, but I don't remember exactly how the widget was called. So I could type
Yeah.
source and it will display the whole prefix.
I
So
see.
it's an
Okay. I
act
see what you're saying.
balance.
Hmm. So even if I thought like, oh, maybe they abbreviated MS, which we shouldn't be doing, if I type that, it would still probably show up as the multiple source if that's what
Yeah,
I name it.
exactly.
Okay. So maybe I should name it that multiple sources. That seems kind of long, but you said there's no like I'm not gonna name for when I get to that one if I get to it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's so long.
actually, I was playing around with Visual Studio Code and how it works with the lengths. It's interesting because it adjusts the size of the. It doesn't always display the full prefix. It's based on how long the description and how long the prefix is. So it will auto adjust the size of each column. Um,
Oh,
so
huh.
it's where if you have a long prefix and a short description, probably everything will show up. If both are long, depending on how long each of these fields are,
Yeah.
it will adjust and hide a part of the prefix
Oh, okay.
and the description.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, then, I mean, I feel like my description will probably be longer than that name. Eh, okay. Maybe that's not too bad then. Maybe search widget multiple sources isn't too terribly long, but I think search widget is good for this. I was just forward thinking for the next ones. Um, okay.
Yep.
We'll just go for it. We'll just go for what we got here. Okay, so that's the prefix. Name, let's see. So the name here, short description that follows the prefix. So it's right there where the yellow arrow is pointing. Let's
Yep.
see.
And I
We
just noted I
recommend
was
using
using the term
do.
description when I should be using the name. What it will be adjusting is the prefix and the name, not the prefix and the description. So
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying now because I was thinking the description's gonna be long. Yes. Okay. So
yeah, the
prefix and
description will be
name.
multi-line. If it is long, it can be as long as you want, but the
That
name
makes
will
sense.
be a single line as well as the prefix.
That makes sense. Yes. Sounds good. Okay. Um, I mean, I think it just makes. Well, why does it say to differentiate from other IntelliSense? We recommend you to include Esri JS API.
That's yeah. Actually, that's not recommended. I have to remove that.
Okay. Okay. So we won't do
We
that.
will do that. I have to remove that. Another note from my notebook.
Okay. Good. Search widget. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the conventions over here, make sure I followed everything. So start your sentence with capitals. This is for the name. And then it says do not capitalize or uppercase. Oh, you mean like don't use all uppercase letters in the name.
Not all or not always the first letter of each word capitalized. So just write plain English.
Ah, I got you. Okay. Yep, plain English. Keep the name as short as possible to avoid ellipses. Yes, I see what you're saying. Okay, this is exactly what you just explained. Sounds good. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty short. I'm not sure how the others will be. I don't think we'll have time to get to the others. We've already been going an hour, but we'll at least get this done. So, okay, cool. Description. Let me read this first. So it's an optional description, and like you just said, it can be kind of as long as I want it to be. Explains what the snippet does. It does say, but keep it short. So we don't want to be going overboard with it. The general search widget, this is going to be not one with like multiple sources or custom sources. So this one, the default should just be using the geocoding server, the world like geocoding service. Wonder if it's worth putting that in there probably.
Yep, that's probably
Okay.
what I would say.
A search bar that gives suggestions to the Continuous World geocoding service.
Hmm.
Something like that. Okay. Cool. Let's see how that looks so far. Not bad.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's fine.
Cool. Let me go back to the conventions, make sure this is good. So description. Cool. Yep. I don't think this applies.
Actually, it does.
Hmm. Oh, it is related to a class, so I got ahead of myself.
Yeah. And again, all these conventions, we have added the link
Oh.
below to the issues where we have been discussing them. We are looking for hearing feedback about this convention, if this makes sense or not. In this case, it was me, the one suggesting to add the path on the description because sometimes I struggle when I'm. So the point of having a snippet is to save you time to not to go to the developer side necessarily to see how to instantiate the snippet. But sometimes I tend to forget the path that I need to include to load a class because that will be
Mm,
required. You will have to add that class on the require function. So I
mm,
thought it would be nice to have within the description the path so you don't need to go to the documentation as I just said. Otherwise, if you don't remember the
mm.
path, you will have the snippet, but you will still have to go to the developer side and open the search widget and look for those paths right
And
there.
look for it like this. I see.
So I suggested,
Okay.
hey, if we are doing that and you have a new class, if you are going to be doing a new class,
Yeah.
um, then you should include this AMD path and ASM path, ESM path.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. So I guess you want me to do that right now. Is there an example of one in here where it's, I mean, I see this example here, but is this just saying add that onto the description basically?
Yeah, that's what you should add. We don't have an example, I think.
Okay.
We could have one, actually. Um,
Well, I mean, I guess I was thinking more. This is an example. It's good enough. It was just me visually seeing it and then coming down here and seeing an example of a body like actually formatted. But yeah, it's fine.
mhm.
It's pretty much the same thing. So I should add that into here. I feel like it's going to make it really long, but
Yeah, probably I should change that for a text area instead of a single line, because as I
yeah,
said, this can be a little bit longer. It's not a big deal.
right. Because I can't expand it or anything like I can the body down here. So,
No.
all right. Um, well, okay. So I guess I just saw where so we've got our ESM one right here, and we've got our AMD one right here. Okay. Um, what out of this? Hold on. This example is saying that. So do you think I should just include the path? Do I need to actually include the import?
I think with the path is fine. All the developers should be familiar, very familiar with how they are writing their code. They just need to
I see.
remember that.
Okay. There's the ESM. Go back to the AMD. So just this.
I wonder if
I
that's gonna
use
break. I
VSCode.
don't know if I have coded the builder to.
Because these. Well, should I just get rid of the
No,
quotation
no,
mark?
no, no. Leave it there. If it
Leave
breaks,
it
it's fine.
there.
I will fix it.
Right, because it'll be quotes within quotes.
Yeah,
So.
no,
Oh,
it escaped the
yeah.
character, so
It's escaped. Cool. All right.
I didn't remember.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we are on to the body portion of this now. So this is the main part
Yeah, don't
of
worry about the
what we've got so
conventions
far.
now.
Okay.
I would say
Okay. I'll
write the
just read the
code.
description.
I mean,
Write the code. Yeah.
write the code and try to make it work. And
See what happens. Okay. Yep. So this will just be the main part of the code. So, all right, we'll just try it. Okay. So within the search widget, let me go to this example real quick. So actually, this example, when I opened it up, or when I open it up, let's see. Let me just open up that code pen now because I played around with this a little bit earlier. Okay. So this is really, yeah, very simple. There's only one problem, and that's view. So I'm gonna make this a little bit more interesting, because otherwise it would just be like what view. Oops.
you can copy and paste.
Oh, okay.
Will be easier.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. Let's see. Oh, it didn't format it right there.
No, it doesn't format. The builder do not do the formatting part. So that's something I was adding earlier today, but it's not pushed yet. So
Okay, I
I
see.
something I encourage you to do is to grab that code that you have in there on the
Right
black
here.
box and
Yeah,
try.
right now.
Yeah, even if that's not final, just to make sure that it's getting on the right direction.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I should open up like a hello world just map real quick and try to put it in there.
Oh,
Or
well,
I
you
could just
can.
open up what I had.
Yeah, you can open what you already have just to see
Okay.
if the snippets structure is properly um, created by the builder. So if you go to Visual Studio Code, you go to the JavaScript there, and you add below print to console, you add a comma and then paste what you have on the board.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have a format for this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see. And then
If
I'll
you go
just
to
save it.
yep, and go to script and type search widget and see if it works.
It comes in properly. So there's that.
Perfect. So apparently you have the whole workflow. You just need to polish your contribution. So you're going to add more
Okay.
properties, right? You said?
Yeah, yeah, I think that would make sense because this is so basic. It seems kind of silly, right? I
Yeah,
could
it
have
is.
just typed all of this myself. Okay.
And it will take much less time than the time you have already spending here. That's for
Yeah,
sure. Well, that's
exactly.
this is the first one. So don't worry. Everything will get faster as soon as you are done with
Yeah.
this.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. I guess we'll look at some of the different properties then now, as I kind of mentioned earlier. So, all right. I guess to save a little bit of time, I have here. I'll take this off screen for a second. I already know kind of I think which ones I want to use because I had thought about this earlier. So there's a bunch. Like we were saying, if you've already used the search widget before, you probably already know which ones make sense to use or which would be common to use. Um, okay, let's see.
And that was another thing we discussed, right? Because at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, should we include all the properties and then request the user to remove them? That may be very annoying at the same time.
There's a lot.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be annoying.
some classes have a lot of properties. So we decided to leave it up to the contributor to decide
Okay,
which ones are cool to have in there.
that makes sense. Yeah, and you mentioned earlier that was kind of explained in the convention, so I guess you would see that there too. Um, Real quick, I just noticed. Are we still live streaming?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, all right. For some reason, I don't see it on YouTube anymore. So, but anyway, all right. Hopefully, it's still working. Cool.
Yeah, it's working on my side.
All right. It must just be my computer then. It's acting funny. All right. Here we go. Okay. So the ones that I've decided to use. Okay. So one of the things I noticed is, oh yeah, there it goes. It's just being slow. One of the things I noticed when I was looking at the search widget here was, let me reload it. The first thing it asks is for you to use your current location. So you could, one of the optional properties is to actually set that to false. So I almost think that maybe that could be something that you'd want to use. I don't know if it's super important, but I'm going to go ahead and add it in anyways. Why not? So
Yep.
that's going to be under location enabled right here. So it says enable, yeah, location services within the widget. So if I want to, by default, yeah, my computer's having a hard time right now. It keeps like reloading things. Every time I switch tabs, it's like, what are you doing? Okay. Um, so by default, let's see, let me click on it. Yeah, by default, it's set to true, obviously, as we just saw. So if I use this property and set it to false, it won't actually ask for the current location. Again, I'm just picking some random properties, so who knows? It could be like after I do a pull request, you could say like, oh, we don't want that property in there or something. So sure, fine. Okay. Let's see. What else should we do? Another thing with the search widget, I think I actually don't like this feature. So this is another one that I'm going to actually disable. So let's see. Let me just click. Actually, I won't allow it to find me. Let's try something else. I might have to reload the page again.
It seems so.
Okay.
Your computer is acting funny, yeah.
Yeah. It's not used to doing this for so long. All right, let's see. Here we go. Okay, so it'll take you to that location. It zooms, it's like a zoom to, and it brings up a pop-up. And to me, I mean, I know there's ways to like configure the pop-up and all of that. I kind of like, well, what if I don't want that pop-up to show up? You can just disable that. Another thing I saw was you can actually, this graphic underneath here, you can actually disable that, or you could change that graphic as well, which I think some of that gets a little bit more involved, but you can just find it in the API reference. I was going to go ahead and just kind of disable both of those just to show that as well. And I've got a couple more things I'll add too. So let's see. So under the search properties, one of those is pop-up enabled. Yeah, right there. So I'm going to disable that. And then the other one is result graphic enabled. That one's kind of long, so I'll copy that one. All right. I think I'm going to add just like one more, or maybe two more. We'll see. Why not? I don't. It's honestly like, what do you find important yourself? I feel like these are going to be just so custom, anyways. So it's kind of just what do you like, what do you don't like, for this specific app. Okay. So the I think one that would be pretty useful would be to actually change what actually is stated right here, what the placeholder value is, or search term. I think might actually be the API reference value here. Let's see. Yeah, search term, the value of the search box input text string. Okay, so let me try changing that too.
I'm not even sure if that's localized. So I have my computer in English, but I assume if I would have it in Spanish, would it be displayed in Spanish? I don't remember.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could always test that out. That would be something.
Yep.
Huh.
I changed all my phone and my computer to English, so I think I cannot try it easily. I will ask my wife to access the sample.
Okay, sounds good. All right. And of course, this is just going to be text, string. So let's see. What should I say? So the default right now is like find address or place. So search for a location. I don't know, something like that. Now, here is where one thing I was thinking about these snippets. Do I always have to put something there, or can I just put the type and just assume people will then put in what they want?
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure if I got
So
it.
what if I didn't know what people wanted to put here, but I just assumed that you want it to be customizable? I could just like leave it like this, or say put a string
Yeah.
here. Or...
If you go to the snippet builder 1 second, I think it's explained there, or maybe it's not. Can you
like in
switch to
here.
the? Okay, yeah. So the recommendations, if you notice, you can add placeholders. the way to remember when I was using at the beginning the snippets, and I got a drop down of values. I also got some some of the values were underlined with color gray. So you
Yeah.
can customize that by using that as syntax you have in there. So if you have dollar, and I think it's parenthesis one. So you
Yeah, it's a
see,
curly bracket.
okay, curly bracket.
Hmm.
Then the number is on which order you will be jumping from one value to another. So you can use that exactly that same thing. So you can use dollar curly bracket one, and then put the same string you were putting before.
Okay. So, but I
So
don't use parentheses. So I just start with a dollar,
yeah,
one,
exactly. I
and
think you don't
then
even need the double quotes because you already have the double quotes outside.
so just say so like that.
Yeah, give it a try. Copy and paste on Visual Studio Code and see if it works.
Okay.
I think it does.
There should be a button that I can just like copy.
Good suggestion. Copy to
All
clipboard.
right. Yeah.
So you have twice the widget. I don't know what will happen. Probably will show twice.
Should I just got rid of it. Should I put it
Yeah,
back in to see what happens? Or?
whatever you want.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't want to
remember.
confuse it. All right. Okay, so search widget. Here it is.
And there you have it. It's now the focus is on the search for a location. If you start typing,
Yeah. And so if I start typing, it'll over. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I see.
override.
Or I can just allow it to be grid. Yeah. Interesting. But I notice there's a space here. So I don't want to have a space there.
Yeah, it was properly indented. So even if your body is not indented on the text area, the builder
Yeah.
is
It
taking
still
your
does the
code.
tabs. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I don't remember
Okay.
how I did it. Hopefully, it will work everywhere. But yeah, if anyone see an issue with the builder, open an issue.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Cool. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of other properties we could add, but I think we're getting the point across. Um,
Would you like to click now submit proposal? That could be the easiest way. So if you have an idea and you want to take an issue and do the whole issue, but you just want to share an idea, if you don't
okay.
mind, click
So I should click that.
proposal. Yeah. So yeah, just to show everyone how what it does. So it sends you to the issues and give you a template already built with all the information you just put on the builder. So it's a pretty straightforward way to share ideas. Just for all of you to know,
I
that's not
see.
the way to cover an issue, right? But just or contribute to an issue. But that's a different thing. As we said on
Hmm.
the at the beginning, it's more to share ideas about the snippets you think would be nice to include on the snippet builder without going through the whole flow of doing the fork, changing your local copy, push it, do a pull request, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess basically this sets it up to where someone else can do that for you, like one of the maintainers or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, we could take this and make that issue, validate the issue, and say,
Hmm.
okay, this is a good fair issue, so maybe we can label it and wait for anyone to do it, or we can do it ourselves whenever we have a little bit of time.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And I just realized that I should improve the builder. You highlighted one thing at the beginning with if you go to Visual Studio Code again,
Oh yeah.
remember, um, go to the snippets you already have in the first tab. So if you go up, there is another field that is called scope. That scope
Yeah.
is where you select on which type of files you want this snippet to be triggered. So, for example, this is a
Yeah.
way to share a snippet on TypeScript and JavaScript plain files. So maybe that's something I could improve on the builder. So you have a checkbox, and you select, okay, I want to trigger this on HTML, TypeScript, whatever, and I add those scopes also to the.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Nice. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're not doing that though, like you said. So I pretty much got the snippet ready to go. This is, again, solving this first one,
Yeah.
is essentially what it is.
My only recommendation before you fork and do the pull request is that you
Yeah,
try your code within the
that's right.
sandbox to make sure that
That's
it
right.
works.
We can try it in this one.
It will work. It's a
It's okay.
simple changes, but yeah, sometimes you
It
can
should
forget a
work.
comma, and yeah,
Mhm.
will save us a little bit of time on the review process.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I should take all of this, put it in visual, like actually go through the workflow and not just copy the code after I use the snippet, or would you
If I
suggest just
if I
taking this?
were you, probably I will copy the text from the builder, just copy and
Okay.
paste from the builder to CodePen without going through Visual Studio Code. You just need to make sure that the
All of
body
this.
part, no, only the body part.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's basically just this, but I don't have to go through the Visual Studio
Yeah.
Code step.
No, I don't think that's not needed. It should work. It's going to be the same thing.
Okay.
Let's replace in here.
Let me save it and try to refresh it because it's been, yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Because
I
I
figured it was just
think
my computer.
I think there might be, when you are using the placeholder, sometimes you might mess around the JavaScript because that's not traditional JavaScript, right? The dollar sign. I think in this case it's not the case, but
Yeah, it's
sometimes, yeah, I have seen that happen.
okay. So yeah, that looks funny. So I would just take that out, obviously. Okay, that looks better now, or at least that's going to be what's intentional. So okay, let me test it out and make sure it works. If it ever decides to reload, I'll just reload it.
Open the console and see if there.
Yeah, it's just having issues loading. It was just can't find the view div because it's just taking forever to like. Yeah, there it goes. Okay.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Okay.
having the script on the header is not helping.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So when I got rid of it, it went back to the default. So I guess maybe I wonder if there's a different property. Huh.
It
Maybe
says
it's
I
like
cannot read it properly.
placeholder or something.
Find
So it
address, and you have
says
a different.
yes. So it when I here watch what happens when I refresh it. It must be a different property. It must be like a placeholder property or something. So search term is what shows up right here. And when I can type over it and I can click X and then the default will show up. So to change that default of find address or place, that must be like a different property. I'm thinking placeholder probably or something like that.
I don't remember. I'm going to check in the meantime the API reference, but yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll test all the other ones and see. Make sure that we've got. So first of all, the location is not enabled. As you can see, it didn't say that. So that's working. I'm looking to make sure the pop-up and the graphic aren't there. Yeah. Looks like it worked. Cool.
Perfect.
Okay.
I see there is a placeholder property. There's a placeholder and a search text, right?
Search term. Yeah.
Term, sorry, search term.
Yeah.
Depending on the sources specified. The search term can be a string, a geometry, blah, blah, blah. So I think what you were trying to use is the placeholder, right?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Let me just try and change that and see what happens, I guess. Mm,
I
maybe
think
not.
the H is capital. No, it's not capital. Sorry.
Oh, is it?
No, no, it's not. It's not. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, placeholder is not a property of the search class. It doesn't look like. Is it
Search
a
for.
property of one of the sources, maybe?
Maybe you're right.
I think I
Yep,
saw that
yep,
later
yep,
on.
yep, yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. You're right.
All right. So interesting. So search term, I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe there is a way to change that default find address or place, but
Yeah, you will have to get the source, right? So use the
oh yeah. Okay, so actually use the geocoding service as a source and then
yeah, yeah.
okay. Okay.
You have an
I'm trying
example
to
on
think.
it.
What was that?
I was going to say you have an example on the API reference, but no, don't worry too much about it, Courtney. Just go ahead and let's try to finish the process of contributing. This is more internal thing on how to use
Yes.
the SDK itself. You can remove
Sounds
that
good.
one if it's not working or leave it, whatever you want. You will get some feedback on the review process anyway.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, I'll just leave it because it did do something, and who knows, maybe there is a use case for it. So I'll just leave it. Whatever. All right. So we have our snippet built. I tested it. It works. And so now I want to actually satisfy the like action of committing it and yeah, submitting a pull request. So we said there are various ways to do this, and I didn't see any suggested ways of doing this. So you think I should go ahead and just do it traditionally, like fork it, and then maybe I could just. I feel like doing it on the browser might be easiest instead of having to clone it locally and all of that.
Paul,
You see what I'm saying?
that's an option. I well, I guess the only well, it's going to be almost the same thing, right? The only difference that you won't have that code syntax highlighting, probably to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
you haven't broken anything.
right. But I already pretty much verified it here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I
It's
can.
it's a
Okay.
simple edit, so you
Yeah.
should be fine.
Exactly. We'll just give the disclaimer of like, yeah, if you're doing bigger things than what this small thing that I'm doing, you probably do want to actually clone it and everything. But
You know, learn it
again,
locally and
maybe
try
you
it there.
create your own branch and all that. But yeah, okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and just fork it. That way I'll be able to submit a pull request from here. Okay. Now, if I'm going to just do this directly in the browser, I guess I just add it to, there are conventions that I didn't read through yet for all of this, right?
Yep. Like, for example, the properties should be in alphabetical order.
Yes, that's true too. I forgot to do that before I forked this. Okay.
You don't have to do it before the fork, just before the commit. Anyway, if
Oh,
you
okay.
don't do
Yeah.
it, don't worry. We will be
Right.
looking at the conventions too. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll be able at some point to set up a GitHub action to check some of these conventions.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So I'm trying to. So this should be an alphabetical order. That's easy to fix real quick if they aren't already. Oh, they are, except for the view. I'll just move that down. That solved that problem. Okay. All right. So within here, let me open up the contributing again. Let me see. Guidelines for contributing. All right. So again, I didn't read through all the body stuff, but you would want to. We're pretty sure it's good, especially since Raul has been looking at all of it, so it should be fine. Okay, this is what I was looking for here. So
The only convention you skipped, was to use the prefix when we are setting up a class. We use the same. We don't use camel case. We use the same. We make it match with the class name capitalization. So search widget should have the S, the initial S, should be in capitals.
okay, where did it say
That
that?
I think that's you have to go to the prefix at the top. I think, yeah, their class constructors match JavaScript
Um,
SDK capitalization.
okay, so like that.
Yep.
Okay,
We
sounds good.
just want to define a convention to make sure that it's easy to identify when you are using something that starts with capitals, that you are starting or initializing a class, and when you are starting with lowercase, you are using something else, or a prop, or a programming pattern, or something different.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Almost there. So
And
this is
again,
telling me how to, yeah.
just a quick disclaimer. Again, all this might change in the future, so just make
Okay.
sure not to follow everything we are saying here in 1 year from now, because next week might change some of these
Right.
conventions.
Do the same like general steps, but go to all these, go to the repo and go to these pages that I'm going to and see if it's different.
Yep.
Okay. So this is telling me how to actually create the commit message format. Okay, so that'll be once I put that in there. And once before the PR, I'm going to do all of this as well. Update the snippets folder, add the info to the snippets table. Okay, so this snippet that I created, I'm going to place it, I assume, in like a snippets folder.
Yeah, that's something I was realizing that it's not properly explained. So you have the snippets folder in there, right?
Yeah, I see that there.
So if you will have to modify the JavaScript, probably we
This
should
one.
start by doing a quick introduction, quick tour to the folder structure at some point on the contributing guidelines. But yeah,
Okay,
this is the file that you have to edit and add at the bottom. You'll have
got
to
it.
introduce your snippet. But
Cool. And I
probably
do. Mhm,
the issue I see by using the browser only
mhm.
is that you will have to do a couple of commits. Uh, because you will have to change this file and you are going to have to change the
Yes.
README file. And again, this is something that we do today, but we are working to remove that table from the README file and create a interface that it display all the snippets. Actually, that was the contribution we received during the weekend coming from Stella.
I see. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we'll just, if you were doing this locally, you'd be able to make all of these changes I'm about to make and do one commit instead
Yeah.
of multiple, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Not a
I
big
won't
deal.
worry
You can
about
do
it.
a couple of commits. Commits.
Okay. Now these, it looks like these are alphabetical order, so I should put it in the proper place, right?
I think so. To be honest, I don't remember 100% if we decided that we were going to do that in alphabetical order.
Just looking at this myself, even if it didn't tell me to do it in alphabetical order, I would feel like I should put it in alphabetical order because those all look like they're
Yep.
alphabetized.
Yep. They are in
So,
alphabetical order.
okay.
That's actually
Sounds
the
good.
first bullet on the pull request. I forgot.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. So I should put it like right here.
Yep.
Yeah. And of course, the formatting is not great because I'm in the browser, but there we go. I think that's good. Or description comes in a little.
You can
One thing.
always
Mhm.
probably you can take this and put it on JSON lint. I
Yeah.
don't know if that will break everything, to be honest. Anyway.
I'm not gonna mess with it right now. I do see it though that all of these are like in a different order. Like they have the description and then the prefix. Um,
Yeah, don't worry too much about that.
so
We haven't
yeah,
agreed on
agreed on that
that
order.
order.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. All right. Well, that works. So I'll just leave it as is because it looks like other than the order, I think it's good.
Mhm.
Mostly. Maybe this is a spacing. Yeah, that looks good. Let me go back to this real quick. Almost there. So my commit message format, I'm going to have to create a message type, description, optional issue number. Okay. So it's this is the type.
Yep. You're
The
not fixing
description.
you're not fixing a snippet. You are not changing conventions or fixing indentation or whatever. So
Right.
that's the right type on your case.
Okay. Do not capitalize first letter. Do not place a period at the end. So, oh, okay. Then I see the example. So this makes more sense. Okay. I see. All right. Sounds good. So add search widget snippet. That's probably good. Something
Yep.
like that.
And
Okay.
then the issue number, right?
Yeah. All right. So feet. Yeah. Let me click commit.
Put it on the commit message instead of on this description. That's the box
I
above.
see what you're saying.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. And
Which
all right.
issue
And the
number?
issue number.
I don't remember. 44. Yep.
And did it say just to put? Yep. Okay. Use the pound symbol. 44. Okay. Just like that. And
Yep.
then cool. Be brief, descriptive, blah blah blah. Great. And it doesn't say to give any other extra description. Okay. I think that's good. Commit. So I guess if I were making a lot of changes, I'd probably want to do this on a new branch, I guess, to keep the
We haven't
main one.
decided anything
Yeah.
on different branches. So I guess for now we are working on master.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking for more personal reasons, like because I'm obviously on
Mm.
my fork right now. So if I were to make a branch, then at least I would try to keep my master up to date with like the official master, and then my branch could
Yeah,
be like whatever I want. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it right now, but okay.
no, that's a fair point. Yep,
Okay.
nice.
All right. So I've committed my changes. So then now I should be able to do a pull request, right?
Yeah. Well, we are going to skip all the other snippets, right, for this demo because it will
We
take
are.
so long.
It will take
Assuming
forever.
we have the three snippets,
Yes.
you have skipped one step that I guess you're going to read now. We already talked
Right.
about
I
it.
was about to do the PR and then it says before. So is this what you're talking about?
Yep.
Gotcha. So yeah, we're going to update the file. And this is what you were saying earlier, where we'll have to actually do another commit because we're doing this in the browser.
Hmm.
But yeah. So, well, I already did this. That's what I just did. Okay.
Hmm.
So now I'll do this. Add the info to the snippets table, which is in the README.
Yep. Snippets available. And that's, as I said at the beginning, that's something we are trying to avoid anyone to do. We want to remove that from there and replace it with a dynamic app. But
Yeah, which
today,
would be nice.
yeah, today you still have to do it in here. The thing is that table is not even sorted on alphabetical order. So
I was just noticing that. Okay.
place it wherever you want.
Okay.
Even the format, yeah,
Ew, yeah, this format is a little rough. Maybe I
yeah,
just copy paste and
yeah.
modify it.
I will probably do the same.
Okay.
Again, this
Is it
is to make
numbered
sure
list?
everyone have an easy way to find it. But yeah, it's not very usable at this point, to my eyes at
I
least.
see.
And
Is this just
Chrome
the name
right,
and then the description that I used in the
is the prefix. So it's the word that will trigger the IntelliSense. Exactly. And then the description.
got it? Description.
And I think you can, well, probably you can remove the AMD path and the ESM path.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's mainly to give a general sense.
Sounds good. I don't know what happened to my search bar. There it is. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Click
Cool. So I've
preview.
added it to that.
Click on preview and make sure the markdown
Make
is
sure it
still
looks
working.
good. Yeah, really.
It's very easy to mess up with these tables. So if you search for search widget,
There it is.
okay, perfect. It's working.
Cool. That's good. So then this one I can just say like add search widget
I guess in
snippet to the
this
table.
commit you can say docs, right? Because this is about it's not
Right. It's not a snippet to the actual extension. It's just in the
yeah,
README. So
yeah.
okay. I see what you're saying. And then add search widget to the snippets list.
Mm-hmm. Snippet
Okay.
tables, snippet lists. I guess you can also use the
Table
for
widget.
number, right? Yeah.
Okay. I'll commit that.
Awesome.
All right. We've done that and that. Now we submit the PR. Link your PR to an issue if it exists. Use for the keyword in the pull request description. Okay. Is this just general documentation on how to link your PR to an issue?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
In case someone is not familiar with that, I was adding some links to GitHub documentation. Because at the end, all this experience, we are also looking to help some people to find new features on GitHub on how to use all these tools.
Yeah, right. True. Actually, I don't know if I've actually linked it to an issue before. I've done pull requests, but I don't know if I've linked them to issues. So maybe I will need to see what that is.
Well, it's as simple as it says on the description. You just need to add
Add
on the
it in there.
title. Yep. There are some
Okay.
keywords that will be treated differently.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So I've got my master is going to be going to the base master. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And we've got my 2 commits here that I created. Yep, that looks good. So you said there's an obvious place for me to link it to.
When you click on create pull request,
It will come up.
yep. So there on the title, you can says adding. We are not doing the pull request right now, right? But as soon as you have all the commits for the 3 snippets, you will have to put in here this closes issue 44, right? Like adding
Uh-huh.
3 multiple search widgets. You can add this in this description and just click the pull request and you're done.
Oh, okay. So you basically just yeah, literally add in a link to that issue here, like closes issue 44, and you just add a link to it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, you can put it
Like
on the
that?
title too. I think
Oh,
it's
in the title.
should.
Okay.
Yep. And then on the description, you can stand. Sorry, in the description you can stand and says anything you want to say. If you think anything is needed to be explained.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Nice.
But yeah,
Um,
this.
yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. I don't want to submit it or create it, I should say, because it's not fully done. We did the first one.
Yep. And yeah, the rest of them will take uh, less time. Right now you have gone through the whole process. Some things we have skipped a little bit fast, maybe. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's mainly it. It's not rocket science. It's just get used to it, get used to custom snippets.
hmm Yeah. I mean, honestly, this took a while, but part of it was, I mean, kind of a going back and forth of you adding in things. Like if it were just me doing this, I guess myself right now, it might have gone a little bit differently. Yeah, I don't know, but
Sure.
it wasn't too terribly difficult. I mean,
I hope not.
no.
Um,
Overall, it seemed pretty easy. I think the most confusion I had were just like the steps of where to go from here. Kind of, it was like, okay, well, I kept kind of going back and forth, and figuring out what I need to do here from there, and blah blah blah. But I hope that after, I guess, creating this live stream, maybe it's people will be able to see the path a little bit easier
yeah,
of how to
actually,
get from the start to the end.
as I told you, Courtney, when I it was going to help us too because by the way, you can stop sharing your screen if you want. I
Yeah.
see we are going back and forth. So
No.
as I told you, I think going with someone through all the contributing guidelines is going to help us to, as I did, take a lot of notes, do more enhancement to the contributing guidelines, and explain things that might not be obvious that we have overseen. So
Yeah.
thank
Makes
you
sense.
for taking the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for guiding me through it. I mean, hopefully, yeah. Hopefully people will get more inspired to. I mean, as you saw it, actually, if you wanted to create your own snippet, it was as simple as just putting it in here and clicking submit, right? So it's just a matter of getting yourself familiar with you know, kind of
Yeah, and
all the
again,
different steps throughout.
it's very useful just to keep in mind that going through the whole process, you also learn how to create your own custom snippets. You don't need to be contributing. You just get used to build your own snippets. You have a new tool, handy tool that you can use to write that JSON file that might not be um, as obvious as we would like to sometimes. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I think I hear kids in the background of your screen.
yeah, my kids are screaming all the time.
Well, it's getting late there, so.
It's shower time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's why.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Anyway,
Awesome.
thank you, Carney, and thank you everyone for joining and staying. I see at least 6 people have
Yeah.
been
Well,
watching
it's probably
until
been
the
an in
end.
and out type thing. I don't know. Usually with these kind of live streams, it is fun to watch live, but it's also, I think, informative even just later, So, yeah.
We'll add the timestamps so anyone can go back and quickly jump to the different things we have seen today. Anyway,
Exactly. Sounds good.
thank you very much.
Cool. Thank
Uh,
you.
One thing we forgot to say for the Hacktoberfest. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
are doing office hours this week and next week in case anyone want to jump on a call with us uh, with any question related to this. I just need to
Mhm.
remember what time it was. I remember tomorrow. Okay, give me a second. We have
Yeah.
it
I think it's,
tomorrow.
I want to say 11 a.m. Eastern. So that would be 5 p.m.
I think it's
Central
9
European,
a.m. No, you're right.
8 a.m.
8
Pacific.
a.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central European time. So Spain, Amsterdam, the other places. So how to join that? I'm going to paste the link on the chat. So
Sounds good.
everyone,
We'll put it
I
in
will put
the
it in the
video
description.
description too. Yeah, yeah. Nice. Cool.
I
And I
think
think we might do one more
that's
live stream next week. Well, it'll just probably be you, Raul, for arcade. It won't be this same format. It'll just be kind of I think a shorter
yep.
walkthrough of another repo. So cool.
That's exactly. For anyone interested on looking at the arcade expressions repo, I will do a quick overview on how it is structured, how you can. Oh, I cannot paste the link; it's too long. Okay,
Well,
I will put it
we'll put it in the
afterwards.
description. Hmm.
So yeah, which are the type of issues we have in there? Yeah, I will do a simple contribution to that report to show you how that one works.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool.
Okay, it will be
All right.
announced on the Twitter account and probably will be linked on the video description too.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Well, thanks. See you guys later.